Regulation is not going to get us out of the current crisis. It's what you do to prevent a recurrence. So you're going to get basically we're going to have to figure out which parts of this greatly expanded financial system are in fact going to be things that you have to rescue in a crisis, and then if quid pro quo. If you're going to do that, then they have to also be regulated with capital requirements and so on. But that doesn't get us out right now. What gets us out right now is rescue operations where endangered institutions are propped up, where claims are propped up, aid to homeowners, because that's where a lot of the losses are coming from. And if it has to get much bigger than it is right now, then it's going to have to change in qualitatively as well as quantitatively. If you end up having to throw $1 trillion into the markets, then there becomes a real necessity to basically not just be handing the money out, but taking control. So there's a lot of talk now. People are trying to figure out how this plays out. There's a lot of talk about what they're calling the Nordic model. Sweden and Norway both had financial crises in the early 90s that were sort of comparable in some ways, although they did involve banks rather than these non-bank things. But still, there's some parallels. And in both those cases, substantial parts of the banking system ended up being temporarily nationalized. About a quarter of the system in Sweden, about a half in Norway, and then eventually recapitalized and resold. But if you were going to say what would, if the current round of stuff doesn't do it, what would be next? The answer actually would be probably, think about what happened with Bear Stearns. Effectively, the Fed orchestrated the takeover of Bear Stearns by J.P. Morgan Chase, with the stockholders not completely cleaned out, but losing the bulk of what they had. That was thrown together. That was cobbled together at the last minute, basically, the chewing gum and baling wire solution. But if you're going to have to do multiple things like that, then take out the middleman. Instead of having J.P. Morgan Chase take it over, have the federal government take it over. So that, I think, that may not be necessary, where everybody is crossing their fingers and all of their toes and hoping that this thing will gradually stabilize without. But that's where it might ultimately have to go. Let's hope that if we get to the point where that really becomes necessary, it's not until next year, because I just don't think the current crew is up to it.